especially if you're looking for that destination home, this could be a great option as a neighborhood. Now, I do want to highlight one more option that does become available in this price range. The only downside of this particular neighborhood is if you are a buyer working in this price range, let no one tell you that there is a ton of demand in this price range, because homes, especially as you go I-900s, homes are sitting around for quite longer, and there's not a lot of buyers in this price range at this moment. So always use that to your advantage and try to get the best deal out of that. So you have been thinking of moving to Kitchener, Ontario, and you're wondering what can you really find these days in Kitchener between the price range of $900K to $1 million? Then stick around, because right here in this video, I am going to show you around 3 different homes from low, mid to high 900,000 that I promise will give you a really good understanding about your options these days in Kitchener between that price range. So stay tuned and let's get right into it. Hello and welcome. In case this is your first time to this channel and you're wondering why am I, my name is Dharmik. I am a local US region serving Kitchener and surrounding towns. And I have people just like you reach out to me looking to relocate in and around Kitchener-Waterloo, and I absolutely love it. So whether you are thinking of moving in 9 days or 9 months, be sure to reach out. You can call me, text me, email me, or even schedule a Zoom call. All my contact info is right below in the description. I'll be more than happy to help you make a smooth move in and around Kitchener-Waterloo. Right, so this first home that I wanted to show you is actually the one that you see right across the street from me that sold for $905. In fact, it just recently closed. And what you're looking at is a 2-story layout, 31 feet wide lot, 1.5 garage, about 1,900 square feet of above-grade living space. It does have a finished basement with additional roughly 700 square feet of finished living space in the basement. So in total, you are looking at close to 2,600 square feet of total living space, with 3 bedrooms on the second level, 1 bedroom in the basement, and you do have 3 full and 1 half washroom. Now, this home itself is built in the early 2000s, like this one in particular is 2012. So you're looking at a home that's fairly new, like about 13 years old, which is not bad. And that's where this neighborhood, you can see this is the whole street of, range of detached homes in various sizes. You can say smaller detached on a rather 30 feet wide would be ranging from around 1,500 square feet. And then, some of the bigger ones can go as high as 3,500, even 4,000 square feet homes that are available in this neighborhood. So, it does serve many different price ranges. I'm in the Doon South neighborhood of Kitchener. And, as you enter into this higher price range of around, say, low 8s to and upwards, like especially into the 9s, that's when you will start to find a lot more options in this neighborhood. Now, I'll tell you more about the neighborhood. You're very close to 401. I mentioned again and again, very few parts of Kitchener have direct access to the 401. So this neighborhood is one of them. Doon South being very close to 401. I mean, if you had to head to Homer Watson, like that will get you immediate access to the Highway 401. The only downside of this particular neighborhood is the east end location, which is more so at the border of Cambridge and Kitchener. So if you were to head down to Waterloo, that could be a little bit of a drive. But overall, I mean, I'll show you around the neighborhood and you will see there are a ton of great options in this neighborhood. Like I said, especially if you're looking for that destination home, this could be a great option as a neighborhood to consider for any family that is growing. So what I'm gonna do is head back to my car. We are going to look at one more home that sold in the mid 900,000, and it's again within this very neighborhood. Today we are going to be touring most of this neighborhood, so that will give you a good glimpse about what this neighborhood has to offer. So I'm going to head down to my car and show you around and see you at the second home. So stay tuned and let's get right into it. Now, as I'm driving around this neighborhood, I mean, you can see some of the homes that you will see on our way to the second home. And take a look at the caliber of these homes. Like, they do speak for themselves, and that does tell you about the the neighborhood itself. Like, you can see these homes, mostly detached homes. There is a patch on Robert Ferry Drive, some other patches in this neighborhood, where you will find a good size, good layout townhome options. But most of this neighborhood in Doon South is basically developed, in early 2000s. That's when it started all the residential development in this neighborhood. And there is some development that happened as late as last 5 years. So, depending on what budget or price range you have, there are going to be options in every price range. But one thing I do like to point out is because of the newer construction in this neighborhood, you will find the price range in this neighborhood of Doon South to be above average in comparison to that of Kitchener average, right? So if you were to look at a similar townhome in, let's say, Laurentian West or some of those rather slightly mature neighborhoods, you will find Doon South to be a little bit more pricey, but that's where you will have to kind of, pay that premium to get into that right neighborhood, a good neighborhood where, the demographics are great, and at the same time, it gives you that upscale community feel. All right, so this next home that I wanted to show you is actually the one that you see right across the street from me. And this one actually sold in summer of 2025 for $960,000. Now, this is rather early 2000s, 2002 built, but you can see this is a double wide garage, 39 feet wide, and you do have much deeper lot of about 130 feet deep. So this is a much bigger lot in comparison to the one that we saw. However, it is slightly older, but if you do look at the inside pictures of this home, you will see the finishes are kind of modern, updated. There's a lot of renovation that's been put into this house, and this is what you're looking at midst, $900,000. Now, what this home did have to offer? Well, it's a still 2-story layout, 3-bedroom layout with 1,650 square feet, just above that. And there is a finished basement with additional roughly 750 to 800 square feet of living space in the basement. You have total 3-bedroom and 4 washroom, so 3 full and 1 powder room on the main level. Now, this is where you will find some homes that might be older, but they might have gone through a ton of renovations, and all the finishes are as per the current standards, where some of the other homes might be somewhat newer, but guess what? They may not have gone through any recent renovations, and some of the finishes might be still dated. So that's why you will have some trade-off and decision making to do in this price range. But what you're looking at is more or less around 2,500 square feet, including the basement living space, but a bigger lot. I'm still in the Doon South neighborhood. Now, I do want to highlight one more option that does become available in this price range. If you say, rather, you are looking for some of the mature neighborhoods, and, unlike these 2-story detached homes, if you are rather looking for something like a side split, a back split, raised bungalow, places like that, keep in mind there are a ton of options available situated on a larger lot. I'm talking about like 5,000 to 6,000 square feet of lot size in some of the great neighborhoods in Kitchener, like Stanley Park. Forest Heights is another great option. Like, a lot of options will come up for you as you go into that $900K. Some really good sized detached homes that are side splits, back splits, raised bungalows, featuring around close to 2,000 square feet. Now, keep in mind, unlike these 2-story layouts, if you were to have, let's say, a 1,500 square feet bungalow, that will be ample space because all the living space is spread out on the same level, unlike the 2-story layouts, which are basically split between the 2 levels. But that's to give you an idea about, just know that besides the 2-story options, you do have, options like a bungalow, side splits, back split. The only caveat to that is the fact that those homes will be dated in terms of the constructions, but honestly, some of them do speak and boast about the pride of ownership. And when you walk into these bungalows, you can really see how much care the current owners have put. And some of those neighborhoods are also top-notch with great schools, great amenities. Everything is just close by. So that's to give you an idea about your options in that low to mid 900,000. But now we know what that looks like. What I'm going to do is head to my final stop, where we are going to look at a home that sold right under $1 million, exactly at $990K. So stay tuned and let's get right there. Now, one more thing that you might see here in Doon South is, like I said, some of the construction is dated. And when I say dated, you're looking at homes built in the early 2000s, whereas many of the other homes are built in last 5 to 10 years. So there are options available. And I think that's where you will have a trade-off to see, okay, within the same budget, you will find some homes that are, say, built in last 5 years, whereas, some of the other homes are built, in last 15 to 20 years. So that's where you will have to decide, because, the older you go, that's where you will find bigger layouts and maybe some bigger lots as well. The newer the home is within the same price range or the budget you're working with, you will probably be looking at some of the smaller layouts and smaller lot sizes. Now, one more thing, again, talking about the neighborhood and, the character of the neighborhood, even in the slow market, both the homes that I just showed you here right now, guess what? They both sold under 30 days. So the average days on market right now, as I record this video, is 32 days. And just keep in mind, that is average. So most of those homes that do sell under 3 weeks are, into that 6 to 800,000. The moment you go past into that 900,000 and up, guess what? They take longer to get off the shelf. But the sign of a good neighborhood is when you see the homes that are priced well competitively and are in a good neighborhood will get off the shelf, because there's always a demand when the fundamentals are strong. All right, so the last home I wanted to show you is actually the one that you see right across the street from me that sold for $990,000. So this is what you're looking at in the high 900s in a two-story layout. Guess what? This one did have over 3,000 square feet of finished living space, not including the basement. So this one is 3,100 square feet, just over 31. And there is a finished basement, additional close to 1,200 square feet. So including the basement, you have well over 4,000 square feet of total living space, featuring 4 bedrooms on the second level. And you have 4 washrooms, so 3 full and 1 half washroom in this 3,100 square feet layout. Now, this one, like I said, is the high 900s, but guess what? That one is built in 2015. So fairly newer side of the neighborhood. I'm still in Doon South, and you can see most of the homes are detached. And you can see this side of the street, as I head further along, you will see some of the single garage detached on a smaller lot size and smaller layout, more so between the 8s and low 9s. Whereas this side of the neighborhood and some of the newer patches of the neighborhood is where you will find homes, between 900K all the way to, like I said, I have a client I'm working with in the 1.3, 1.4 range, and we have options available we look at in this neighborhood. I have a client working, in the 8 to 900K, and we often come across many homes in this neighborhood. Now, if I was to compare this neighborhood with some of the other neighborhoods in Kushner, which is very similar, because, I, work in this area very often, and there's another neighborhood where I end up very often is Huron South. Now, both these neighborhoods are very much similar in terms of their characteristics. Honestly speaking, if I were to show you like a drive around of Huron South and show you another clip where I'm driving in Doon South, you will hardly be able to tell the difference between the two neighborhoods. But I do feel like Doon South is still less, busy, more suburban and more quiet, where Huron South is more central. I feel like at times too much development, too much things going on. So this still, I would say, rank higher somewhat than Huron South. That's just my own perspective. Having said that, it is equally good neighborhood, Huron South, but I just find many buyers, especially, as you go past $1 million price range, Doon South always comes on the top of list for many of my buyers working in that higher price range. So that's a little bit about the, low to high 900s, basically 900 to $1 million price range. And now we do have a decent idea. Now, this is just an example of what's possible. Obviously, the always trade-off would be the age of the home and the price. And the other trade-off would be, to go for space or for finishes. Because, for example, this home, if you look at the inside pictures, what you will notice is the home very spacious, right from the foyer area all the way through the bedrooms and everything. But you will see the finishes are not the current like top-notch finishes. they are from when the home was built back in 2015. So you could always make those upgrades, make those changes. But if you are a buyer who is, say, I want absolutely something nice and shiny, move-in ready, turnkey, without me having to spend a dime, then that's where you will probably be looking at something slightly smaller layout. And guess what? It will give you, something with top-notch finishes, but you will always pay a premium and maybe compromise some space for homes that are, finished from top to bottom. So that's just my take about it. But if you are a buyer working in this price range, let no one tell you that there is a ton of demand in this price range, because homes, especially as you go high 900s, homes are sitting around for quite longer, and there's not a lot of buyers in this price range at this moment. So always use that to your advantage and try to get the best deal out of that. So that's my take about it. What I'm going to do is show you around this neighborhood. And if you did get some value, then be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and tap on that bell. And whether you are thinking of moving in 9 days or 9 months, be sure to reach out. All my contact info is right below. I'll be more than happy to help you and family make a smooth move in and around Kitchener-Waterloo. Until next time, I will continue to show you around the town.